Welcome back, you guys. So today I wanted to sit down and kind of talk to you guys about what I do to push forward on those days, weeks, months of feeling like I just don't want to homeschool anymore. So I hope that you guys are all doing well. I'm gonna adjust my camera here because I'm kind of sitting back in my chair, relaxing. It is the night before Thanksgiving here, and I am cooking or baking some sweet potatoes so I can make yams for tomorrow. I have a nice hot apple cider with some whipped cream and some caramel sauce drizzled on the top, just trying to get into the spirit of these really wonderful holidays coming up. Just so much to be thankful for, and yeah, so trying to reflect on that during or amongst the chaos of life, you know what I mean? So I hope that you guys are all doing well. I hope you guys had an amazing Thanksgiving. You guys will see this after Thanksgiving has happened. So I just hope that you guys had a very blessed day with family and friends, and that you guys just reflected on everything to be thankful for. Even though this crazy world is just chaos and chaotic around us, just try to keep your eyes focused on Christ and know what life is really meant for, what the true meaning of life is. So with all that deep conversation, I want to kind of sit down and talk to you guys about what really pushes me on when days are feeling rough. I know that there's plenty of those days. I go through different spurts. You know, it could be to where something's going on in my personal life for me that makes it hard to homeschool. It could be something going on with my kids, my husband, family life, just the feeling of being run down and tired. You know, so many different things that can play into us feeling burnt out or just done. Not to mention, you know, the crazy days with school, you know, the days that aren't great, the days that you just want to throw in the towel and just kind of be done with it. So I did write down some notes just so that I don't get off topic, because that is something that I do quite often. But I want to say that number one is definitely just focusing on God's push, on why I homeschool, on why I chose to not have my kids taught by anybody but myself. You know, knowing the agenda in the system of public school, knowing that it doesn't follow along with our beliefs and our values in life. You know, just being the one to really focus on my kids and knowing what I can learn, or what I can learn, what I can teach them, what I can instill in them, what's important in life. Do you guys hear that? That is my puppy chewing on something. I think his toy. I hope it's his toy, because it sounds like he's ruining it. But another thing, you know, that I focus on is just the uncertainty of the school system as far as safety, as far as bullying, you know, guns, things like that. Just everything that kind of goes into schooling in a public system or even private, because my daughter actually was in a private school for kindergarten. So that's basically the number one thing that I always reflect back to if I'm struggling, is like, could I truly put her back in the system? No. So above all else, that's my number one focus. That's my number one drawback that makes me think like, I better push forward no matter what. Like, it is what it is. Number two is just knowing what's best for my kids. Same things that I just talked about: safety, bullying, different health things that they go through, that it's just easier for me to be teaching them at home so we could kind of work on their own speed, things that we could focus on with strengths and weaknesses, that it's more of a one-on-one type of teaching than my kids in a schoolroom with multiple kids around them, maybe not getting the attention that they need. So there are definitely factors in my kids' life that make it more successful for me to be teaching them than for them to be in school. Number three is putting homeschool first. Now, it took me a couple years to really understand this, and it is along the lines of putting everything else to the back burner when you're at home teaching, knowing that teaching is your job, you know. So when it's basically what I try to stick by as much as possible is when it is time for school, it is time for school. I try to stay in the schoolroom as much as I possibly can, because I know as soon as I get up and leave the room, distraction starts happening. It's harder for my kids to stay focused. So I learned that the hard way. I would try to do housework, because if you're a homeschooling mom, you know how hard it is to manage everything, to juggle everything. And there is always something that I'm falling back on or struggling on. Nothing's ever perfect. Nothing's ever the way I want it to be, because there's just one of me and not enough time in a day to do everything I need to do. So just knowing that school has to be done, and that is my #1 priority. Having somewhat of a schedule. So not necessarily having, you know, us start at 9, be done for lunch at 12, nothing like that, but just kind of trying to stay on a schedule as far as, you know, like a daily rhythm, what our plan is for the day, keeping our curriculum pretty basic from week to week as to know like what has to be done on what days, things like that. And just knowing to prioritize it. Prioritizing school is also a key thing. So with prioritizing it for us in our homeschool room, I know that first thing, having breakfast and starting school in the morning is key for a successful day for us in our home. Another thing, like I said, is not being sidetracked with household chores. I mean, if the kids are sitting down and doing something that they need to be doing and you think that you could get your dishes done in 10 minutes, I would say try to do it. But don't get upset if they need you while you are in the middle of doing your chores, because homeschool takes priority. And then just treating it as a job, you know what I mean? Because then I think for me, like knowing that it is a job, it's something that has to be done, that I can't have excuses for, you know, something like that. So that's what I would say is putting homeschool #1 is definitely key. So for myself, because we do school with my sister and her girls, we split up on Wednesdays. We do not school together on Wednesdays. So that is a day that my daughter has her horseback riding classes. That's when I make all of the vet appointments, all of our dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, things like that. Unless it's an appointment that I have to go on my own, I will not schedule it for a Wednesday, because my sister's usually who watches the kids when I do that. And it's easy to do it that way because we are not schooling together, so we could kind of be on our own schedule on Wednesday. Usually we homeschool until really late that evening. Not really late, but I'd say like 6, 7 o'clock. I'm not really stressed out about getting the day done. We just kind of work through it as it comes. So that's something that we focus on, is making one day specific for something like that. If something does come up, just know to be flexible with adjusting to that. That is one good thing about homeschooling, is you can adjust how you would like. Sometimes, you know, like for me, it's really hard for my brain to adjust to certain things, but if you just let it happen, it will be much easier and much smoother. So something that could help you with not being motivated is just keeping some things in mind to push you forward. Like for instance, I want us to be done at a certain time throughout the year. So that motivates me not to slack off on certain days. It motivates me to get started in the morning, because I don't want to be doing school until 9 o'clock at night every night. That's something else that is a motivating thing for me. Something else that could be motivating for you is just if you guys have different activities or things that your kids are in at night, that'll motivate you to get up and get school done earlier, or vice versa. If you have things to do in the morning, that'll motivate you when you get back to know that you have to get that school done. Something that I feel like I really wanted to touch on today is a struggle that I know that I face, and I know a lot of you moms or parents have to face with homeschooling and trying to juggle everything. And that's housework. So when my daughter was in school, I would spend that time, because I had my son, he was only 1, so I'd spend that time when she was at school to get all of my household chores done. But now that I'm homeschooling, and I'm homeschooling both of them, it's just not as easy. I also used to just do it over the weekend. I would spend a day just cleaning the whole house from top to bottom, and it would be done in a day or two. And I loved that because everything would be done at one time. The house would be clean at the same time. I've come to realize that that just does not work for me. I'm really busy during the week with school and activities and a little bit of household chores. You know, I have a puppy. And then on the weekends, that's when we're together. That's when I have to do my YouTube stuff. That's when I do shopping, stuff like that. So I really, truly have no time, I feel like, honestly. So I try to just get in my household chores when I can. I do laundry throughout the week. I used to save that for one whole day or 2 days throughout the weekend. Now I try to do it throughout the week. I do dishes daily, multiple times daily, and I just keep up with that. Whenever I get a few minutes to clean the bathroom, I'll just clean the bathroom, or I'll sweep the whole, you know, the kitchen and the school room and the family room and the hall. Like whenever I have 10 minutes here and there, I just do something that I see, something that is bothering me. The bathroom is number one that I'm constantly cleaning. The toilets, the sink, stuff like that, the shower, that has to be an every other day thing for me because I do have a young son. So that has to take priority. And same thing with like sweeping, mopping. Mopping doesn't come as often as sweeping. I wish it could, but I literally just take the time that I have to clean a little bit here and a little bit there. And that seems to keep the house in order. I do take one day to where I do, you know, the dusting of the whole house or wiping down the blinds, the fans, stuff like that. I wish I did it more often, and one day I will. But right now I'm literally just trying to juggle everything. So the main things I do whenever I have time throughout the day. So 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 15 minutes, I just take it to do little things here and there around the house. My house is never clean at the exact same time. So my house is not like completely, the house from top to bottom is not spotless clean at one time. It's like, it's a rolling list. It's a roller coaster, you know what I mean? So with that being said, all of my to-do lists are literally forever revolving. Like I just cross something off, add something new. So just keep in the back of your mind that you will never get through your to-do list because there's always going to be another to-do list. So don't let that drive you crazy that you can't ever get through what you need to get through. So just kind of push it on to the next day and move forward. Don't let yourself sit back and dread and like wrap yourself up in the things that you can't do, because it's just going to frustrate you. It's not going to make anything any better. So that's something that I still struggle with, that I still have to talk myself into being okay with. Something else I wanted to talk about not being motivated is when your kids are having a day, I have found that feeding into it just makes it worse, and I still have to check myself on that. If I notice my daughter is having a really bad day and she's really grumpy, I make her give me a hug. And that seems to set the day a little bit better. I just tell her, you know, do you need a hug? And so we'll hug it out. She'll still be upset for a little bit, but she usually gets over it. The more you feed into it, I've noticed, even though it drives me crazy and I want to feed into it, the more you feed into it, the worse it gets. So if you just kind of change the direction in the thought and the way things are going, then it will get better. And that goes for you as well. For me, if I'm having a bad day, I'll let myself just spiral downhill instead of like checking myself, telling myself to like change my attitude and get better, because that literally just makes your day worse. It does not make it better. So if things are going crazy, anything you can find to help, put on music, talk to your kids, go to a room by yourself. I mean, these are things you could do for yourself and for your kids, you know. Make yourself a warm coffee or a hot tea and just kind of sit for a minute. Go into a room and pray. Read a little bit out of your Bible. Anything that you find can help you or your kids to change your guys' day, do that. Anything to change your mood. I'm telling you, because if you just feed into the negativity and how everybody has a bad attitude and everybody's arguing, nobody wants to do school, it's just going to get worse. So check it and change the direction of it. Let's see here. So Work. So moms and parents out there that are working and are homeschooling. Now, I do not have a full-time job. I YouTube. It takes up so much of my time. Not only do I have this homeschooling channel here, but I also have a hauling channel. That's really fun. It doesn't take a whole lot of thought to do that one, so it takes less time. My homeschooling channel is what I started first, and I really just poured my heart into this because I truly love homeschooling and I wanted to help other moms or families out there with whatever I could. Just kind of be somebody to maybe relate to the person on the other end of their phone or TV, whatever you guys watch YouTube on. So I don't necessarily have like a full-time job that I answer to anybody. I answer to myself. So I have to be super strict on myself, know when I have to work, know when I have to take time off. It's been really hard to juggle. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't even know how to give you guys advice on that. But like sometimes I want to give up and like not do anything, you know, because I'm tired, but I really love my channels. I find joy in them most of the time. And so I just know that I have to do it, and I do it. Not only do I have my YouTube channels, but I also create a lot of our own workbooks that we do for unit studies and things like that, and that takes a whole lot of my time. So I usually will just sit down. I do it sometimes at night, I do it during the day. Literally whenever I have time to do it, I do it. When the kids are doing school, I'll start doing my workbook questions on a notebook pad, and I just have to be really strict on myself. I really don't have a lot of downtime for myself. I'm usually doing something. And when I do have downtime, it's because I don't really have downtime. I just make myself do nothing. Like if I'm watching something, I know if I'm gonna sit down and watch TV or a show or whatever for a little while, or YouTube, I know that I'm cutting into the time that I need to be working on something, but I still do it. So I just know that I'm gonna fall behind in something else. It is what it is. But so I don't really have very much great advice for working and trying to push forward with that while homeschooling. So I think that is it, you guys. Those are the things that I wanted to touch on. I want to say my most important things are probably the top 4 or 5 things that I talked to you guys about. Well, I want to say all the way up until housework, I think is really the most important things, just to kind of stay focused on, and you know, just roll with it, you guys. Be in prayer, talk to God. He will see you through whatever you're going through. I know I find myself leaning on Jesus so much, and I don't know what I would do without him. That's probably the best advice, is just going to him and giving everything to him and knowing that he will get you through and see you through whatever your journey is. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out today. I really enjoy hanging out with you guys. I hope some of these were helpful to you. And that's it for today. So I hope you guys had an amazing Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys soon. Be safe, be blessed. Bye.
Had more of your smile. What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars,